Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive. We're going deep today into a world of shadows and strategy, a world where every move is calculated, and every word can be a weapon.
It can be.
We are diving into Sun Tzu's The Art of War, a text that has whispered secrets of power for centuries.
Yeah, it's a bit like cracking open an ancient code, isn't it? This isn't just some military manual.
Right.
It's a blueprint for navigating the complexities of human nature.
Exactly.
A guide to understanding those forces that shape our decisions and our destinies.
I love that. Think of it this way, listeners.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a player in a high-stakes game surrounded by rivals, and each of them has their own agenda. The Art of War is your playbook.
That's a good way to put it.
A collection of strategies designed to give you the edge in any situation. It's divided into 13 chapters.
Yeah.
Each one unveiling a new layer of strategic thinking.
And what's so fascinating is that these chapters, while written about warfare, resonate far beyond the battlefield.
Right.
They offer a glimpse into the minds of leaders, negotiators.
And really anyone who seeks to wield influence in the world.
Let's start by laying the groundwork. Sun Tzu kicks things off by talking about 5 key factors for planning a campaign.
Okay.
Moral influence, weather terrain,
Right.
command and discipline. It's like he's saying, before you even think about making a move, you need to understand the landscape.
He's talking about the terrain of the situation, both literally and metaphorically.
Okay.
Are you facing a united front? Or is there dissent among your opponents? What are the external factors that could influence the outcome?
Right.
And just as importantly, how about your own internal resources?
Yeah.
Your leadership, your
Yeah.
discipline, your ability to adapt.
It's like he's urging us to become masters of observation.
Absolutely.
To see the unseen, to
Yeah.
anticipate the unexpected.
And in Chapter 2, he dives into this critical aspect of resource management.
Okay.
Sun Tzu understood that every battle, whether it's on a battlefield or in a boardroom, consumes resources.
Time, energy, these are all finite resources that have to be very carefully managed. He warns against protracted conflicts, recognizing that the longer a battle drags on, the more vulnerable you become to exhaustion and depletion.
It's a stark reminder that efficiency and decisive action are key.
Yeah.
Prolonging a conflict, whether it's a war or negotiation, can drain your resources and ultimately weaken your position.
Now this is where things get a little more mysterious.
Okay.
Chapter 3 delves into the world of deception and psychological warfare. Sun Tzu was a master of illusion, of using misdirection and cunning to gain an advantage. He understood that the battlefield is not just a physical space, but a mental one.
He's saying that to truly conquer your opponent, you first need to understand their mind.
Exactly.
You need to anticipate their moves, exploit their weaknesses, and even plant those seeds of doubt that will make them question their own strategy.
It's about creating a sense of uncertainty, a fog of war, where your opponent feels like they're constantly one step behind.
It's fascinating, but it also raises a question.
Yeah.
Is deception ethical? Especially in contexts outside of warfare. After all, we're often told that honesty is the best policy.
That's a valid point, and that's where Sun Tzu's teachings require careful consideration.
Right.
He's not advocating for outright lying or manipulation.
Okay.
Rather, he's suggesting that understanding the power of perception and influence is crucial in any strategic endeavor. It's about knowing when to reveal your hand.
Yeah.
And when to hold your cards close to your chest.
It's like playing poker.
Exactly.
Sometimes a bluff can be more effective than a strong hand.
Right.
But it requires a deep understanding of your opponent and the dynamics of the game.
Precisely. And this leads us to one of the most intriguing themes in the art of war, the power of adaptability.
Okay.
Sun Tzu uses these vivid examples of battlefield maneuvers, of reacting to changing circumstances and knowing when to advance and when to retreat.
He compares a skilled general to water, flowing around obstacles, always finding the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful image, but also a chilling one.
It is.
It suggests that true power lies in the ability to adapt to any situation, to change your course, to become predictable.
Sun Tzu argues that rigidity is a path to defeat. Clinging to outdated plans, refusing to adjust to new information, that's what makes you vulnerable.
Yeah.
Instead, he urges us to become like chameleons, blending into the environment, adapting to that ever-changing terrain of our challenges.
It's like a dance, isn't it? A constant flow of movement and adjustment, responding to your partner's lead, always anticipating the next step. But what if your partner is deliberately trying to mislead you?
That's where intelligence becomes paramount.
Okay.
Sun Tzu dedicates Chapter 12 to the crucial role of spies and the gathering of information. He knew that knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your opponent. He understood that the more you know about your enemy, the better you can anticipate their moves and exploit their weaknesses.
It's like having eyes and ears everywhere.
Yes.
A network of informants whispering secrets into your ear, giving you that edge you need to navigate this treacherous landscape.
And in a sense, that's what we all need to do in our lives. We need to cultivate our own intelligence networks, to be vigilant, to gather information from a variety of sources, and to learn how to discern truth from deception.
Sun Tzu's teachings remind us that we're all players in this grand, intricate game.
Yes.
A game where the stakes are high and the rules are constantly shifting. He urges us to become masters of strategy, to hone our powers of observation, and to never underestimate the power of deception.
And as we move forward in our exploration of the art of war, keep this in mind. The battlefield is not just a physical space. It's a mental and emotional landscape. And to truly conquer, we must first conquer ourselves.
Ooh, I like that. So we've delved into the shadows of deception, the importance of adapting. But the game is far from over of it. Sun Tzu doesn't just leave us with these principles. He gives us a framework for putting them into action.
He understood that knowledge without application is like a weapon left unused. In Chapter 6, Weak Points and Strong. Sun Tzu unveils a strategy that feels almost like a martial arts move.
Oh, okay.
A precise strike aimed at the heart of your opponent's vulnerability.
It's like finding the chink in their armor.
Exactly.
That one spot where a well-placed blow can bring down even the mightiest foe.
Right.
But how do we translate this from the battlefield to, say, a business negotiation or a personal conflict? It feels almost ruthless.
Think of it less as ruthlessness and more as strategic intelligence.
Okay.
Sun Tzu isn't advocating for a scorched earth policy. He's highlighting the importance of understanding leverage. In a negotiation, it's about identifying your strengths and the other party's weaknesses, their motivations, their fears. It's about knowing when to push and when to yield, when to strike and when to hold back.
It's like a game of chess.
Yes.
Carefully maneuvering your pieces, anticipating your opponent's moves, and always looking for that opening that will give you the decisive advantage.
And this brings us to Chapter 7, Maneuvering.
Okay.
Sun Tzu moves beyond these individual strikes and focuses on the art of positioning, of adapting your strategy to the ever-changing terrain of the conflict. He uses this analogy of water flowing around obstacles, finding the path of least resistance. But this isn't just about passive adaptation. It's about actively shaping the battlefield to your advantage.
He talks about creating diversions, feints, strategic retreats.
Yes.
All designed to keep your opponent off balance, to make them question their own perception, to draw them into traps of their own making. It's like a psychological labyrinth.
It is.
Where every move you make is designed to disorient and confuse your adversary.
Chapter 8, Variation in Tactics, takes this concept even further.
Okay.
Sun Tzu warns against predictability, arguing that sticking to the same tactics makes you vulnerable. He encourages a blend of strategies, a constant shifting of gears that keeps your opponent guessing, unable to anticipate your next move.
It's like a magician constantly changing their tricks, keeping the audience on the edge of their seats, wondering what will happen next. But how do you maintain this element of surprise without becoming chaotic and losing sight of your objectives?
That's where discipline and strategic thinking come in. Sun Tzu isn't advocating for random acts of chaos. He's emphasizing the importance of calculated risk-taking, of knowing when to break the rules and when to stick to the plan.
It's like a jazz musician improvising within a structure, finding moments of brilliance within the confines of harmony and rhythm.
And this brings us to this crucial question of engagement. Chapter 9, aptly titled The Army on the March, delves into the heart of decision-making.
Sun Tzu famously states, know when to fight and when not to fight. This isn't just about physical battles. It's about understanding the strategic landscape, recognizing when engaging in a conflict will drain your resources and when it will lead to victory.
It's like a seasoned poker player knowing when to fold their hand and walk away from the table, preserving their chips for a more favorable game. But how do you know when to hold back, when to choose strategic retreat over a full-blown confrontation?
Sun Tzu emphasizes the importance of careful observation. of reading the subtle cues, of understanding not just your own strengths and weaknesses, but those of your opponent. He suggests that sometimes the greatest victories are achieved through avoidance, through choosing your battles wisely.
It's a reminder that strategic thinking isn't always about aggression. It's about discernment, about recognizing that sometimes the most powerful move is to step back, to observe, to wait for the opportune moment to strike. And that brings us to Chapter 10, Terrain.
Okay.
Sun Tzu delves into the importance of understanding the landscape, both literal and metaphorical, in which you're operating. He categorizes different types of terrain from accessible to impassable and outlines strategies for navigating each one.
It's like he's giving us a map, not just of the physical battlefield, but of the psychological and emotional terrain we encounter in our lives. He's teaching us how to read the signs, how to anticipate the challenges, how to find those advantageous positions that will give us the upper hand.
And this leads to Chapter 11, The 9 Situations. Sun Tzu expands his analysis of terrain, describing 9 different strategic situations that an army might encounter, each with its own set of challenges and opportunities.
Like he's created a playbook for every possible scenario.
Yes.
A guide for navigating the complexities of conflict, from desperate situations to those where victory seems assured. He outlines the principles for adapting your strategy to each situation, emphasizing the importance of flexibility and responsiveness.
Sun Tzu reminds us that no two situations are alike, that every conflict presents its own unique set of variables. He urges us to become masters of adaptation, to develop that ability to read the situation, assess the risks, and adjust our approach accordingly.
It's like a skilled sailor navigating treacherous waters.
Exactly.
Constantly adjusting their sails to the changing winds, always seeking the safest and most efficient course to their destination. But even the most skilled sailor needs a compass, a guide to help them chart their course through the storm. And that's where Sun Tzu's insights on intelligence gathering become crucial. So we've navigated this treacherous terrain, we've mastered the art of maneuver, and we've learned the importance of knowing when to fight and when not to fight. But Sun Tzu has one final secret to reveal, a strategy that lies at the heart of all of his teachings.
Chapter 12, The Use of Spies, delves into this world of intelligence, gathering a world of whispers and shadows where information is the ultimate weapon. Sun Tzu understood that to truly conquer your enemy, you need to know them better than they know themselves.
It's like peering into their minds, uncovering their secrets,
Exactly.
anticipating their every move.
He outlines 5 types of spies, each with their own unique role to play in this intricate game of information warfare. There are local spies recruited from the enemy's own people, blending seamlessly into their surroundings. Inward spies planted within the enemy's ranks, feeding you information from the inside. Converted spies turned against their former masters, offering invaluable insights into their strategies. Doomed spies deliberately fed false information, leading the enemy astray. And surviving spies returning from missions behind enemy lines, bringing back vital intelligence.
It's fascinating and chilling at the same time, this system.
It is.
A network of deception and manipulation designed to give you the ultimate advantage. But how does this translate to the modern world? Are we all supposed to become spies in our own lives?
Think of it less as espionage and more as strategic intelligence gathering. In today's world, information is everywhere. It's in the data we collect, the conversations. We overhear the online footprints we leave behind. Sun Tzu's teachings remind us to be vigilant, to cultivate our powers of observation, to become masters of reading between the lines.
It's like becoming a detective in our own lives.
Exactly.
Noticing those subtle cues, the inconsistencies, the hidden motivations that drive people's actions. But gathering information is only half the battle. The real challenge is knowing what to do with it.
That's where discernment comes in. Sun Tzu emphasizes the importance of analyzing the information you gather, separating truth from deception, identifying patterns, and drawing accurate conclusions. It's about seeing the bigger picture, understanding the underlying dynamics of the situation, and using that knowledge to inform your decisions.
It's like assembling a puzzle.
Yes.
Piecing together the fragments of information you've gathered until a clear picture emerges, revealing the hidden truths that will guide your strategy.
Exactly.
But even with the best intelligence, there are times when conflict is unavoidable.
Chapter 13. The Attack by Fire addresses this reality. Sun Tzu explores the use of force not as a first resort, but as a calculated and strategic tool. He outlines different methods of attack, from setting fires to creating diversions, each one designed to maximize impact while minimizing casualties.
It's a chilling reminder that power, whether in war or in life, ultimately rests on the ability to exert force.
It does.
But Sun Tzu cautions against using force recklessly. He emphasizes the importance of choosing your battles wisely, of striking with precision and purpose, and of knowing when to show mercy.
His teachings remind us that true strength lies not in brute force, but in the ability to control and direct it, to use it sparingly and strategically, and to always strive for a swift and decisive victory. And that, perhaps, is the most enduring lesson of the art of war. It's not a blueprint for domination, but a guide to navigating the complexities of conflict with wisdom, cunning, and a deep understanding of human nature.
It's a reminder that we are all players in this grand and intricate game.
Yes.
A game where the stakes are high and the rules are constantly shifting. But by mastering those principles of strategy, by honing our powers of observation, and by cultivating a deep understanding of ourselves and our opponents, we can navigate this game with confidence and skill.
Absolutely.
Emerging victorious, not just on the battlefield, but in all aspects of our lives.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring the depths of the art of war with you.
It has.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and may the strategies of Sun Tzu guide you toward your own victories.